Yes, Rockstar is still updating GTA Online in 2020, a whopping 7 years after the game released in 2013. And yes, people are still playing it, thanks in large part to it being released on PC in 2015 and its highly successful Casino Heist update added late last year. But let's not forget how good this single-player experience was. For the first time in a GTA game, we were able to play as not one protagonist, but 3, as we wreaked havoc all over Los Santos. And we were also introduced to perhaps the most fitting GTA anti-hero ever in Trevor Phillips.
I know, no. Sounds ridiculous.
No, actually, it does not sound ridiculous, you know? Because you're a killer.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Think about it. For once, there wasn't a huge disconnect between our protagonist's moral center and the incredibly vile events playing out on screen. Trevor is a psychopath. In GTA, we act like psychopaths, so it made perfect sense. Okay, so where did the inspiration for this now iconic character come from, you're asking? Well, he came from a few sources, so let's take a look.
Holy shit, it's right. All right, now you better be f***ing ready, because it is game on, full-on tutorial time. Now, hey, first things first, all right? Let's go grab ourselves a car.
Physically, Trevor's character is pretty much an exact recreation of the Canadian actor who voiced and mocapped him in Stephen Ogg. Ogg is also known for his work as Simon in The Walking Dead, and he has very distinct and memorable facial features just like Trevor. He's gruff, tough, manly, and intimidating all at once.
First, I wasn't gonna send you away. I was gonna kill you.
Also, seeing as Trevor was brought to life through motion capture, Ogg had a lot to do with creating Trevor's sporadic mannerisms and other oddities, such as his hulking walk and loud speech pattern.
It's just computer bullshit, generated by some underpaid, overworked social rejects just sitting by their lonesome, wasting away in front of their computer screen.
The actor was quoted as saying, "Trevor definitely evolved as I performed him. Nuances and character traits began to appear, and definitely informed his development throughout the game." Thus, there was a certain level of letting the character evolve on set, and that work is directly attributable to Ogg himself. In terms of external influences, especially in terms of Trevor's personality, Ogg looked to Tom Hardy's performance as infamous British criminal Charles Bronson from the 2008 film based on his life. Bronson, whose full name is Charles Arthur Salvador, has been labeled in UK newspapers as, quote, the most violent prisoner in Britain for his explosive behavior behind bars in which he injured many inmates and guards. In fact, it was his violent behavior once already in prison that eventually led to a lifetime sentence as a repeat offender. Considering that Trevor is also prone to rage and violence, we definitely can see the connection here, as there are obvious parallels in terms of impulsivity, lack of control, disregard for authority, and outright bloodlust. Rockstar co-founder and VP of Creativity Dan Houser sees Trevor as something akin to Freud's id, a purely instinctual drive only concerned with satisfying cravings, and damned be anything that gets in the way.
Those pathetic midlife crisis, hog-riding, shaven-headed, fruity leather, chapped-wearing assholes.
Fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Trevor's instincts are driven by his resentment of his life, including his abusive upbringing and also being stabbed in the back by his former best friend, Michael DeSanta. But because he is such a primitive fellow, he's also perhaps the most honest person in GTA 5 because of it.
I'm out.
No, don't go! Please, I beg you. If you go, his father kill me.
Why do I give a
He doesn't pretend, or simply can't pretend, that he's anything other than what he is, even if that is a psychopath.
Oh yeah? Well, that little girl sat on my lap when she was 2 years old, and I swore to God that I would rip the f***ing skin off anyone who f***ing wronged her.
He's basic in this sense, but this authenticity actually lends him some sympathy and endearment because in a game of endless double crossings, honesty is a virtue.
Hey, listen, if you want to replace some father figure, you can do a lot better than this fat snake, all right?
Yes, he's a maniac, but at least he's not a hypocrite like his current and former partner Michael. In fact, these two are polar opposites, in that Michael is a criminal in control, so much so that he'll manipulate others to get what he wants, whereas Trevor is a criminal with little to no control, to the point where he can't even pretend not to be violent.
We are going straight to the local union rep. Wade here was injured in the performance of his duties. Human waste has seeped into his very pores, and I am sorry to say this, but I don't think he's ever gonna smell normal.
GTA writers also built a sizable backstory for Trevor as well, adding lots of depth to the character to explain why he is the way he is, like the fact that he was born into an abusive family and has major abandonment issues.
Don't know what you're talking about. I don't agree with what you're saying.
Trevor was born in Canada, but came to live in the US with his family and never quite came to grips with being an outsider, which only fueled his already paranoid behavior. And, on top of the abuse he suffered, he lived a scattered childhood as well, jumping from school to school in 5 different states, multiple care homes, and, yes, even state prisons.
Shit!
His father passed away when he was 10, and he was forced to raise himself on his own, but with very little skill to do so. In Trevor's lore, it's also repeated that he has severe rage issues since childhood, and it's even hinted at that he is the reason for his younger brother's death, whom he despised. And we can only conclude from this hint that Trevor killed his brother in a fit of rage. Despite such a troubled life, however, Trevor was able to develop a love of planes and wanted to be a military pilot. But of course, his mental condition eliminated him from any sort of consideration for army involvement.
You're actually firing rockets? We need that at all! I can't
And thus, by being rejected from the armed forces, rather than abandon his love of aviation, he instead became a smuggler and trafficker and turned to a life of crime. Damn! It all makes so much sense now. His character and influences are deeper than what you'd expect by looking at Trevor at first glance. In terms of first impressions, he just looks crazy. But there's more underneath the surface.
You reptilian motherfucker!
I didn't want it to come to this.
Yes, you did! You just don't have the fucking balls to do it! But I do!
I got more to lose than you.
Never a truer word has been spoken, brother! Now pull the fucking trigger!
And so, it would be a mistake to think that GTA's Trevor Phillips is just a walking, talking ball of chaos, and that little thought was put into his controversial character. As we've seen, Trevor was brought to life through multiple sources, from a historical figure to a Freudian concept, and his violent behavior stems from a place of hurt, fear, and distrust, making his evil persona anything but black and white. In fact, it's all of this background and backstory that makes Trevor one of the more realistic protagonists in any GTA game, insomuch that he fits the crazy environment he inhabits as well as the crazy choices he makes. He's a very natural inhabitant in the very insane and unnatural world of Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, I love you! Oh, let me take you away from all of this!
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.